Hi, it's Edward, back with another video. Please take a moment to click the thumbs up button below and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your support. Today, I read an article on CNBC.com written by Sharon Epperson and Stephanie DeHoo, titled, "Amid Financial Stress, Workers are Asking for Emergency Savings Accounts as a Job Benefit, Survey Finds." I'll include a link to the article in the description below. I encourage you to read the full article to support the author and news source. As a private American citizen, I'd like to report and share my transformative thoughts through commentary regarding small sections of this article that are of public interest. According to the article, about 42% of employees want to be automatically enrolled in an emergency savings account through their employer, according to research from the Bipartisan Policy Center. However, just 10% of employers offered these benefits in 2022, according to the human resources consulting firm Buck. The article goes on to indicate the passage of Secure 2.0 legislation last year also gives employers more flexibility to offer emergency savings accounts. In my opinion, this is a wonderful benefit. There are so many everyday Americans who do not have an emergency savings account, who desperately need one. Many Americans plan to rely on their credit card in the event they encounter some type of unexpected emergency in their life. I think this is incredibly foolish. You cannot rely on a credit card in lieu of an emergency savings account. It is possible a credit card company could reduce your credit limit. It is possible a credit card company could decide to close your credit account completely. Life is getting incredibly expensive these days due to all of the inflation that we are encountering. It is so imperative that Americans have an emergency savings account. This article goes on to indicate, starting next year, as much as 3% of an employee's paycheck can be automatically placed in an emergency savings account, up to a total of $2,500. Employees can then withdraw the money up to 4 times a year with no fees. This is great that individuals can withdraw money with no fees. The problem from my perspective is $2,500 is not nearly enough for an emergency savings account. A lot of financial experts recommend that you have 6 months to 1 year of your salary set aside in an emergency savings account in the event you find yourself unemployed, or in the event you encounter some type of unexpected expensive situation in your life. Let me give you an example of why I believe $2,500 is not nearly enough money to have in an emergency savings account. Today, I read an article on businessinsider.com titled, "A Tesla Owner Says His Heart Missed a Beat When He Received a $21,000 Bill After the Battery Was Damaged by Rain." That's right. It was going to cost $21,000 to replace the battery in his Tesla. What would someone like this do if he needed that transportation to get to and from work, yet he only had $2,500 saved in an emergency savings account through his employer? That would not nearly be enough to cover the $21,000 repair bill for his Tesla. Everything in life is incredibly expensive these days, which is why I don't believe $2,500 is nearly enough money to have in an emergency savings account. I recognize not everyone drives an expensive Tesla that is going to have a $21,000 battery that needs to be replaced, but a lot of everyday Americans do own high-tech vehicles. Many of these high-tech vehicles are more like a rolling video game than they are a car. Even basic repairs on some of these high-tech vehicles can be very, very expensive. There are a lot of everyday Americans who are fortunate to be homeowners. Well, a home is a machine for living, and a home often needs maintenance. If someone's furnace goes out in the winter, they don't have a lot of time to be able to shop around to find the best deal. they may have to find a contractor who can come in quickly to replace that furnace before the pipes freeze in the wintertime. Depending on the size of the home, a new furnace could cost $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 or even more, especially if you are going for a name brand furnace with a high efficiency rating. Again, $2,500 in an emergency savings account isn't going to come close to paying for a new furnace. Let's talk about medical costs for a moment. These continue to increase. It is almost criminal how much some of these hospitals charge for care these days. If someone needs to go to the hospital for some type of medical emergency, that is likely going to be very expensive. Again, $2,500 may not be nearly enough money to be able to pay for some of these expensive medical procedures. Please understand, I'm not trying to discourage anyone from taking advantage of a workplace benefit which would allow you to put money into an emergency savings account. I think that's great. I simply feel as though individuals should consider having additional emergency savings outside of that plan, because I don't think $2,500 is going to be enough for emergencies that some individuals could potentially encounter. What reality are some politicians living in? Why in the world would they set the threshold at $2,500 per year with the passage of the Secure 2.0 legislation? I mean, do these politicians not live in the real world? Do they not understand how expensive life is for ordinary American citizens? If they truly understood how expensive life is, they would set this much higher than $2,500. For parents with young children, they may want to have far more than $2,500 set aside in an emergency savings account. Children are often accident prone. Children could ride their bike, flip over the handlebars, and bust out some teeth. Children could fall off the swing set and break their arm. Children could slide off of their skateboard, fall backwards, and get a nasty cut on the back of their head. When I was a young child, my parents had to take me to the emergency room on several occasions. Once, I was in the house and my Bigfoot battery-operated truck didn't work. I couldn't get the batteries out of the bottom of this truck. So I went into the junk drawer and pulled out a screwdriver. I then tried to pry out the batteries with the screwdriver. The screwdriver punctured one of the batteries and all of the battery acid exploded into my eyes. I immediately had terrible pain in my eyes and everything in the house became blurry. I ran outside screaming for my father. He was really caught off guard by what had happened. He put my face in a bowl full of water to try to dilute the acid in my eyes, and then he drove me to the emergency room so that they could flush out my eyes. My father was not expecting for anything like this to happen that day. He probably thought I was safe in the house, playing with one of my toys while he was taking care of some yard work. This just illustrates how things can happen with children that are unexpected. An emergency room visit like this can be expensive. Depending on the gravity of the situation, $2,500 in an emergency savings account may not be nearly enough. What do you think about all this? Do you know individuals who are taking advantage of this workplace benefit and are putting away $2,500 in emergency savings? Do you know people who have no emergency savings, who are living for today and simply hoping that they will not encounter something unexpected in their life? Let me know about it in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. Please keep in mind, nothing in this video is financial advice. If you need advice of any kind, seek advice from a qualified professional in good standing who puts your interests first and foremost. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.